I think it's one of the best races in the world, Paris-Roubaix. When you win, you go in the legend in the sport.
Takes place in Northern Europe. I think that landscape and places and buildings hold a kind of frisson of energy. Great things have happened there, like the Battle of Waterloo. But maybe it's like a rip in an old curtain. It just kind of hangs there. All the things that have unfolded over the years in this event kind of linger on those terrible, terrible cobblestones.
When they start the race, it's, 7 hours of sometimes very bad weather and very extremely dangerous conditions. And if they are at any point ever afraid or timid, they probably will crash. So they go out there fearless.
It's that magical week that you get in the beginning of April, where Tour of Flanders, Ghent-Wevelgem, Paris-Roubaix, all in 1 week. And the amazing thing about all of those races is that you usually find all that's left is 10 of the strongest guys in cycling. Certainly in Paris-Roubaix.
If you can win a Paris-Roubaix, well then I think your career is made, because it's the monument of classics.
And where is the toughest, roughest, most brutal course is Paris-Roubaix, has to be that way. And your name goes up in lights if you do it. And I think you can die happy if you do it. You just know that you have achieved something that every other rider will slap you on the back for. Everybody standing on the side of that road with dirty shoes, and maybe if they're lucky, rubber boots, will applaud you for. It's not insignificant.
The territory is stronger than the riders in this race, and that's probably the only race where the territory is stronger than the riders. Those riders face a challenge that goes far beyond physical exhaustion.
The mystique is there because it's the most horrendous day out on a bike. 260 odd riders start, and it's pretty rare that many finish. The guys that ride Paris-Roubaix and finish are all heroes.
Paris-Roubaix is just such an epic race. There's so much history behind it. That's probably one of the only races that I knew of when I was a child growing up. I always saw pictures of dirty, riders that just looked like they went through war, and I always thought that I wanted to do that race.
Well, I think it's insane. I think if you watch the race over the years, I mean, even on a dry day, it doesn't look like a bike race. It doesn't look like a race where you have, you actually ride a traditional road bike and then you put a little rain on the picture. I mean, it's absolutely out of control. I mean, guys slipping and sliding everywhere, crashes. Even the police motorcycles have to ride motocross bikes just to get across it. I mean, it's totally epic. I mean, it's one of the great regrets that I have of my career is not, having ever started it. But it's one of those days, man, it's like Super Bowl Sunday. You love to sit down and check it out and just see what's going to happen.
Before you won Paris-Roubaix, did you dream about winning Paris-Roubaix, and how has it changed since you've won it?
Qu'on ne peut gagner que si on en a vraiment envie. La première des choses qu'il faut avoir au départ de Paris-Roubaix, c'est l'envie. Après, il y a le travail, après il y a les qualités physiques. Il faut d'abord avoir envie. Vous pouvez avoir le travail et les qualités physiques, si vous n'avez pas la tête et l'envie pour gagner cette course, vous ne pouvez pas la gagner. Ça, c'est la première chose. Et après, on l'entretient et on le cultive. Et quand on l'a gagné une fois, on a envie de regagner. Donc je dirais qu'à la limite, la deuxième fois, au niveau psychologique, est plus facile parce qu'on sait qu'on peut le faire. Là, ça devient plus simple.
Everybody in cycling knows it's a team effort, but maybe when the chips are down on a Paris-Roubaix, it's the desperados who get their day. And I think every cyclist, no matter how much they curtail their own personalities to feed the stars, to support the stars in their own team, have that little bit of desperado that made them want to be a cyclist in the first place. But you know, I come from a background of rock and roll, and I know that the best rock and roll is not watched on a television set. You have to be there, and you have to see the white of the performer's eyes. And I figure that's true of any sport, any genuinely exciting event. There's this amazing kind of like a single mountain in a plain, and it's the Paris-Roubaix. It's in a class of its own.
It's unique in its very own way, that it's a race like it was 100 years ago. And nothing changed. The roads are still the same.
They say it's the queen of the classics, and I agree with that.
There's no other race in Europe or maybe in the world that is so hard for the bikes and for the riders.
But Roubaix is, everybody in Italy know this race because it's something special.
When the Belgian race is starting, they start first with a couple of small races and then a small tour, and then you got Tour of Flanders. Can't do ever again. Paris-Roubaix. When you're from there, it's they build it up, you know, the media, everybody, the people, your friends, everybody comes to watch it. It's a kind you're like born with it, you know, it's kind of a passion. For people from us, like Belgium or Flemish people, we're crazy about it. We love it.
And I think the Paris-Roubaix is very like the Ventoux, that in this landscape of rolling hills, this huge, gigantic, barbarous, brutal mountain rears right up and it kills off all but the best, literally in some cases. And I think Paris-Roubaix is like that. It starts right at the beginning of the season, and I think it catches cyclists like a sucker punch. Bang! They're not ready, they're building up their stamina, they're training, and along comes this fiendish, brutal race. On which we all know that cycling, unlike people who don't follow it, is a team game, that people work for each other. And I think that drops out of the reckoning very quickly with the Paris-Roubaix. It almost becomes every man for himself, you know, a ride to the line. It's desperate. And I kind of like that about it. In fact, I like that really a lot. The fact that it's all compressed into this one hard day, crossing endless battlefields. That's what I like about it. You know, the battlefields go right back to, you know, medieval sites like Crécy and Agincourt. And then you've got all the Napoleonic wars, to and fro, you know, the armies of the old empires of Europe. And obviously the First World War, right through. This is fought over land, this is blood-stained land, and carved through the middle are these amazing cobblestones that you would never find in a town. One of these quaint old English towns with cobblestones, it ain't like those. Those are rough, brutal. I love them.
Speciality about Paris-Roubaix is that it's somehow the most grounded side of cycling. It's the dirtiest race, and it's the less glamorous one compared to the Tour de France or the Giro, where everything is colorful and full of people. And Paris-Roubaix is something that is very close to the region, to the people there, and to the territory itself. It takes place on the battlefields from World War I, and that creates an atmosphere you don't find in any other place.
Yeah, it's there's no other like this one. You can do it only once in a year, but you really enjoy what you're doing, for sure.
You know, nowadays we can see on the TV a little bit better compared to 15, 20 years ago how bad the sections are. And a lot of the sections are not used for public roads, they're only used by the farmers who use them with their tractors to go to the fields to do some agricultural work. So, you know, that is giving you an idea how bad the sections are of cobbles in the Roubaix race.
A lot of the teams, they pick out the Thursday or the Friday before Sunday to practice on the cobblestones, and you see a lot of the times the teams coming together and almost riding as one big group. And the reason for this is also the cycling world, especially Paris-Roubaix. It's a very close-knit world. These people know each other very well, they know each other's personalities very well, they usually have a very good relationship in and also outside of the race. So especially on these training rides, it's not cutthroat and you don't want to hurt your adversaries. It's more everybody coming together, feeling that what their legs are like, making sure the equipment is okay. And even though on Sunday everybody of course wants to win on these warm-up and training races, it's fun for everybody.
We're not used to training at this time of the year in such hot conditions, so we really get to watch.
La Parigi-Roubaix è una corsa unica perché comunque è diversa dalle altre, perché si affrontano tanti chilometri di pavé. Non ci sono salite, però il pavé diventa molto impegnativo e il finale è una corsa che diventa massacrante.
After 10 sections you're okay, but after 20 or more you start to feel pain everywhere over all your body.
You have to like the stones, yeah? That's the most important thing.
These local people are inordinately proud of their cobblestones. And in particular, Jean-Marie Leblanc, the Directeur General of the Tour de France, is a local man. He's from Lille, he's from around Roubaix, he's ridden on those, he's grown up like the farmers, like the townspeople. He loves those stones, and he loves to see any race, and particularly that race, this race, go across the cobblestones. And they will stand there to a man and woman and old lady and little child to salute and applaud people going across their roads. It's ownership, it's very important.
It's the greatest classic race to win, but maybe the most horrible to ride because of the terrain you've got to go over. And you know, riding as many times as I did during my career, you know, you have some memories, and you know, the cobble sections are always dangerous. A lot of crashes, and you ride Paris-Roubaix, and if you get through without falling, well, it's an achievement in itself.
I think Paris-Roubaix is hard to arrive on the finish line, and I have a lot of respect for every rider do all the race, because it's I think really tough. I do in 2 years ago in the Tour de France only 3K on the stone. It's incredible, and I think do 60K there, you need big power.
It's almost like another sport in itself, because it's you know, it requires special bike handling skills and you know, a special person to be able to ride, you know, so many kilometers of those brutal cobblestones, which, you know, some sections are really not in very good shape.
It's more a fight with the cobblestones. It's also a fight with the riders. It's a kind of training also in the head. It's Paris-Roubaix, it's so different. It's you don't have any hills. You have these cobblestone sectors.
The first reason is still bike riding on cobblestones, and that makes it unique.
Une morphologie presque spécifique pour les pavés du Nord. Et si on a une morphologie spécifique, ou si on n'a pas de morphologie spécifique, il y a encore quelque chose d'indispensable, c'est d'avoir dans la tête la motivation. Et Marc Madiot, qui a gagné 2 fois Paris-Roubaix, ou Gilbert Duclos-Lassalle, ce sont des Français que je connais bien, il vous dirait il faut l'amour de Paris-Roubaix. Il faut avoir envie de gagner, il faut avoir Paris-Roubaix dans la tête pendant des semaines et des semaines avant la course. Il y a un coureur américain qui a cette qualité physique et cette qualité mentale, c'est George Hincapie. Lui, il pense Paris-Roubaix. Il fait partie de la famille des spécialistes qui pouvaient gagner Paris-Roubaix. Il n'a pas encore gagné, mais il aurait pu gagner.
In my opinion, it's the hardest one-day race on the calendar. The way your body feels after a Roubaix that you finish, and you finish in the first group, is you're just shattered. I mean, I kind of feel the same after after a Tour de France. After 3 weeks of racing, I feel the same after doing a one-day Paris-Roubaix. It's just such a hard race, and the preparation is it's pretty basic. I mean, you have to do races up in the north and do all the races on the cobblestones, get used to riding on the cobblestones. But to go there and try to win it, you have to be, you know, completely focused, and you have to be ready for a big battle on the bicycle.
My goal is to do my job until I've got nothing left, and at the end of the day, if I've got the energy to finish, then that's great. If I don't, well, then it doesn't really affect. If I've done a good job, I've done a good job. If I finish, it's a bonus, or not so bonus, depending on the conditions. I've never finished the race in the wet. I've finished off in the ambulance both times, and I've finished the race 3 times in the dry, so I'm not a big fan of the race in the wet.
There are some people who kind of accept it because it's their job and they're not specialists, but the team puts them in because they need horsepower. But generally, the people you see at Paris-Roubaix are the guys who really want to be there. They want that action. They like that action. They like that toughness. They like the knockdown, drag-out fights.
I think after the race you need, I think it's one of the biggest races, you need 3, 4, 5 days for recovery. The whole body, legs, arms.
Yeah, of course, the physique of the rider is very important. The body he has got and the weight. But first of all, that's what they say. You have to love the race, and from that point on, everything decides on whether you do good or not.
È una corsa che mi è subito piaciuta il primo anno che l'ho fatta. Purtroppo non sono riuscito a finirla, però mi è piaciuto il pavé, mi piace la durezza, quindi la selezione che avviene naturale durante la corsa. E niente, poi è una gara che ha fatto storia, quindi per me è bellissimo farne parte e poter essere tra i protagonisti.
If you're in good form and you're in your top shape at that moment, well then you're in a chance of winning the greatest classic in cycling, professional cycling. But to ride over the cobbles, of course, you know the real rough sections are so bad, they hurt a lot. It takes a lot of experience. It's something that you learn over many years, and I certainly took a long time to learn that, because coming from Ireland, we haven't got anything like that in our roads back in Ireland. So it's really for the Belgians and the northern French riders who know those sorts of roads well, because they have been riding over something similar for many years.
Yeah, I crashed one time really hard. So then at Bos, we came in the Bos was wet and felt really hard. So then you get a little bit more scared. So I'm happy that it's dry. It's tough enough already, the race. So if it's wet, it's even more dangerous. And I'm happy already it's dry. And so let's hope we don't crash and have a good day tomorrow.
Big cobbles from 100 years maybe, and a hole, so you can find everything there, and that makes dangerous. The cobbles in Flanders, for example, are much more easier, but maybe the worst cobbles in Flanders are in the steep climbs, and yeah, when it's wet it's really hard. But in Roubaix you cannot see what's 20 meters in front of you, so it's a little bit scary sometimes, but that makes also nice, the race.
And how do you feel after a day racing on Paris-Roubaix cobbles?
Yeah, it's a mixture between pleasure, because you finish the queen of the classics, and then you are destroyed also. But it's a mixture of feelings. It's a little bit destroyed but happy at the same time.
And how does your body feel after going over these cobbles?
Terrible. I have a Wednesday after this, next week, Wednesday, I have a race. I don't know how to do that, because I think it takes like 10 days for really recovered. The shocks, you know, in your hands, your muscles, that's really sore, really, yeah.
Paris-Roubaix, I never was there. I know what it is.
Only the last 50 years he was there.
Unfortunately we know about you. Okay, we'll be done in 5 minutes or less.
Or less?
Or less.
For me, Paris-Roubaix, you must love it or you don't love it. And when you don't love it, don't go.
And have you ever seen any people change their opinion and change their approach toward it over the years? That learn to really like it, or is it?
Well, you like it or you don't like it, and after years you cannot say. You can be better. After a couple of years, that's not easy. Paris-Roubaix, it's a race, also a very hard race for the mechanics.
The major thing about the wheels is the tyre pressure. We run, compared to normal road races, very low tyre pressure, just so that they can ride comfortably across the stones, so they don't get bounced over them, and that they're not too hard that they puncture quickly. Realistically, it's not really a race that these bikes are built for. You know, the race is it's almost a mountain bike race on road bikes. It's pretty rough on gear, and a lot of gear doesn't survive. Wheels get damaged. They finish the race on them, but they're not really good enough for the next races.
Luck is the most important thing. Strategics. Roubaix is a very special race because if you're strong and you're a little bit lucky, normally you stay in front. With weather like this, it's harder. You need more luck because the race is faster and there's a lot more crashes, and more riders are able to stay in front with less energy. When it's wet or it's more slippery and everything, you lose more energy because the speed is slower and you have to speed up higher after the corners. And weather like this, it makes it harder for us.
Have a nice trip. Bye. Bye.
And luck plays a major role. It's very important. First, the condition have to be 100%, and then if you know crashes and no flat tires, is always good.
Even if you have bad luck, you just continue because it's possible that 20 riders before you, they also get a puncture or their material breaks or they have a crash or something. And so sometimes it's possible to go in front, even you don't know it, but you're back in front.
Maybe if you compare, it's like a really high stage hard stage in the Alps, in the Tour, but flat and dangerous with luck counts a lot. But counts a lot in the sense that you can have flat tires or crashes in the final. But I think every rider thinks that something can happen to them. So nobody is without that problem. So it's a really strange race.
If you're good, you can still lose because you damage on the bike or crashes, so it's an exciting race. So it's important that if you're good, that you don't have unluck. You know, luck you can make yourself. If you're good, you're there. But unluck can cost your victory.
The day when I won Roubaix, my role was just covering the early breaks, and I never believed that we're going to stay up front. I was by myself, and one car passed us, and Roger de Vlaming was in that car, 4 times winner of Roubaix. And I know him very well because my first 2 years as a professional I was a teammate of him. And so he just put his window down and he said, listen, you're going to stay ahead. They're not going to come back. It's still 3 minutes. It's your chance today. And then for some reason, at that point, I started to believe in it, and I've got the confidence of a winner. So I never made a good result anymore, always finishing between 30th and 40th. But I did my job, and the day that I won, I got all the luck on my side, I think.
a win at Paris-Roubaix. How would that feel?
I don't know. I never did it, so no. It was one time 8, so pretty okay with Roubaix. But winning, yeah, it's hard, you know. It's
and a win here means a lot.
Yeah, it's one of the 5 big classics in the world. So I won one time and I did the podium the second time. So I know what it's like to do a good result in Roubaix. It's a very special race.
Thank you very much and good luck.
Thanks.
How would that be?
When you win Paris-Roubaix, it's always very, very nice, and it's not so easy to win it. Everybody wants to win, but we are in a good team, so I hope this weekend we have more lucky than the other races.
Secondo me è qualcosa di spettacolare, vuol dire veramente entrare nella storia del ciclismo, essere ricordato per sempre per l'impresa che si fa. Grazie.
Thank you very much, Alessandro. Good luck.
Grazie.
And a win here means a lot.
Well, I think so. It's only for the Tour de France. You see American people coming to make a documentary, so it's a special race. There's a special atmosphere.
It's something you think about like already in November. So it's, for me, especially if you're kind of rider I am, it's a very special, exceptional race to do.
And a win. How would a win feel for Paris-Roubaix?
Well,
Tell me about what that would mean.
I don't know. I can't tell, but okay. For certain, it's a great feeling. It's something you remember the rest of your life, even if it's only once. So I hope I can tell you after Sunday. But
Okay, thank you. Monsieur.
We were talking to Sean Yates, interviewing him for the magazine a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying how you have to be at the front 20, you know, all day long. You have to be there, even at the first feed. You've got to be up there. You've got to concentrate all day long, and for seven hours or so, you've got to be in the front 10 if you've got any chance of winning it.
Coming at it from a fine art angle, and someone that used to race enthusiastically. So I hope my angle just sheds a different light on it, or rather than always being the glossy money shot, dare I say. It would seem as though it's the most powerful, the rider that would sort of part the cobbles as they ride, but it's not necessarily the case. Like someone like De Vlaeminck is quite a small man, and then you think maybe it's to do with luck, but I don't think it's that. It's a sort of mixed. It must be huge tacticians. They're big tacticians, and they're made of other stuff. They're made of stuff that we're not made of. They're made of something. I don't know what it is. They've got something that they're slightly alien to the rest of us. They're superhumans.
On veut que tu regagnes demain. Hein. J'espère que tu vas regagner demain. Ça va être super. C'est ce que tu avais dit il y a 3 ans. Tu avais gagné Paris, tu avais gagné Je le sens comme ça. Bonne chance.
How long have you been coming out to watch the race?
7 years. Here, hè? Yeah.
Can you just have you been to other spots along the course and camped?
Wat ik nog andere ritten.
Was er andere plaatsen geweest op de koers Parijs-Roubaix of altijd hier op deze plaats?
One more at Grusson, one more time, and all the other here.
Can you explain the experience?
The experience. You must go be here, and then before the course, it's amazing. But all the people see all there, and all the autos, cars. The here jusqu'au autoroute, all the cars. And here and there, all the people going, supporter for we supporter Tombone. Tombone and Philippe Gilbert. And all the Belgians. And this one is first, bravo.
So how long you wait all this time, and how long do you get to actually see the riders? How long?
Oh, not very long. Dat is subito presto.
And after they go by?
Then we look at television. Just the course is finished. As we want to know, we are first. And we pray. It's Tombono op Peter. Van Petergem ook. We hope in België.
All right, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
What's that?
Coming back next year?
Oh yeah, coming back next year?
Ah ja, natuurlijk.
Ja,
Of course. That's onze motto. You see Tombonen, made in Belgium. Is Mekelen. I make a college. Tombonen made in Belgium. Daar. Hallo. Okay.
You definitely need to be mentally prepared, and you have to love those type of races. And you have to be super motivated. I mean, there could be some guys that can be good at them, but just don't have the same ambition to those type of races, and they won't even finish. But mainly just having a lot of bike handling skills and knowing how to place yourself properly in the peloton is a huge factor. I mean, so many guys fight for position and they waste a lot of energy, and by the end of the race they have nothing left. It's just there's a fine line between fighting for position and trying to save energy at the same time.
km. Et pour la petite histoire... Voilà, on salue les nombreux organisateurs venus de Belgique avec le Japon, la débat était formée donc dans la région marseillaise, on a porté les couleurs du directeur de Marseille et il a le maillot de la championnat sur lequel, eh bien, donc Alessandro Balade peut compter, puisque c'est vrai que Daniel Rigui
il y en a d'autres. Ça fait des belles têtes de vainqueurs.
Troisième année consécutive. Merci d'applaudir. Vidal avait été l'un des coureurs les plus brillants lors de la saison 2006. Et bien, on peut constater que 2007 est parti sur les mêmes bases, peut-être plus élevé encore, car il en est à 2 bien belles victoires. Donc les 3 jours de la table et... Attention à lui, Enrico Frenzel, double champion du monde.
Many riders who finish Paris-Roubaix don't really care about the Tour de France, they don't really care about the Giro d'Italia, they don't really care about the Vuelta. What they're interested in is Paris-Roubaix and finishing.
There's a lot of one-day races dotted around the calendar, you know, and people from the outside tend to concentrate on the big 3-week tours. But I think the cognoscenti, the aficionados, really go for very specific type one-day races, and the Paris-Roubaix is the master of all of those races.
It's a really strange race. When you are in the start, you already are feeling that it's a really different race. When you talk to other riders, the atmosphere already in the start is completely different to the rest of the year.
It's something that you grow up with a passion for. It's like, oh, that's me one day. One day I want to be Paris-Roubaix.
Every morning when I wake up, I see myself winning it.
it was the first race I ever saw as a kid. I mean, it sounds like some fantasy story, but it really was the first ever road race I saw from Europe. I remember as a 13-year-old given a video cassette just to show my age from a Dutch friend. I was just mesmerised by it. I thought, what the hell is this race, man? I was fascinated by it. And I just had a passion for it, and I knew that I wasn't probably the best physically built for that race, but it became a passion, an objective. I didn't want to have my own personal objectives, conflict in this team. It's not how we work. And I had good form. I knew that for me to be at my best for the team, I had to be in the front. I had to be ahead of the guys when they attacked. When Boone and Cancellara, when these guys attacked, they would have to come to me. And when they came to me, then I'd be able to play a role. And it worked out perfect. And I spoke to Fabian briefly, and when I got caught, and he was like, I'm not feeling 100%. And so straight away, you've got to make a split-second decision. Okay, I'm as stuffed as anybody here in this group. Some days, the stars are lined up for you, and the last 20k. Man, I've never suffered like that in my life, ever. I've never ever felt like that. But just started thinking about, this is probably never going to happen again. Coming in, the possibility of coming into the velodrome on your own, it's never going to happen again. And man, you push yourself like never before.
Avec un sprint réglé donc. Et on glisse sur la terre.
Henri, c'est extraordinaire. Toute l'équipe qui est venue le féliciter.
7e saison dans le peloton professionnel et le corps italien. Bernard Hinault, voilà le vainqueur donc qui reçoit le bouquet de la région Nord-Pas-de-Calais. Les félicitations de monsieur René Ball, Nord-Pas-de-Calais, également monsieur Daniel Percheron, président du conseil régional Nord-Pas-de-Calais. C'est historique. À Milan-San Remo, 10e à Milan-Turin, 5e à Milan-San Remo, 10e bague et Weissmann à la 3e place pour le team allemand. Vincenhoff, 3 grands champions, et là au Grédy il a été champion olympique. Il a été magnifique.
Attention. On va par là, aider. L'accueil, on en fait la Paris-Roubaix, on va tu hâtes? Ouais, casquette. Fais gaffe, il y a une bonne route derrière.
Fence.
Ok. Mais si tu vas pas, je peux pas t'aider. Vas-y, je te dis. Attention. Vas-y. That's not barbecue. Ouais. I smell champagne and beer. Yeah. It's getting you basically. Non, il va à bus. Dans le bus là. C'est juste là à droite. Ouais. On repasse par jusqu'à côté de l'antidopage. On retraverse le bar. Ouais, c'est mieux je pense. On traverse le bar. Ouais. Attention. Attention. Good job. Attention. You look like you just stepped out of the shower and had a shave. Thank you very much.
I was getting perhaps a little bit too aggressive about it, and then yeah, I had a crash, and it ruined my last Paris-Roubaix, my last race, which was yeah. My big dream to say goodbye to this professional sport, and having all my family around who's never there, and my friends and everything. I felt sorry also for them.
Grande culo, Porcella rotta. Christophe? Meine Fresse, ey. Kann nicht mal einer eine Ansage? Bon, je vais à mon bus.
I never tried to get into shooting with high expectations because I learned that it's a game, and for me it's a little bit like a race too, because I have my appointments with riders, normally just with one rider on one day, and then the shooting has got to be very fast, so I don't know what is coming out of it, and I discover what I did weeks later in the laboratory. So, and this is something I like about this whole process, that it's there's a development in it, and a certain percentage of luck or bad luck, or a lot of things that I cannot control that much. That's how these portraits are done.
J'arrive pour entrer dans les douches.
I think it's very unusual Roubaix because of the showers. Ordinarily, they would finish their race and jump straight on the team bus, and you wouldn't see them again until they sign on at the next race. But because of the history of the showers, that's very different.
The cyclists all come together in this one building that all personas are stripped off, all uniforms are stripped off, all pride is stripped off. It's just naked, savage. These people have been savage, cyclists, standing there together. It don't happen on those big tours because the cyclists cross the line and their soigneurs whisk them off to their tour buses and their showers and their fancy down hotel rooms.
If you've ridden the Paris to Roubaix, then you get in the showers. It must be like you've done the course, sort of thing.
What the sprint look like the boss. In the Paris-Roubaix, they're put into these really, really old-fashioned showers, you know, where you feel if they leant against them, they get more grazes than they've already got from the cobblestones already. And I think that sums up the race. And then just to drive the point home, in case these guys are feeling, hey, we've done really well, you know, we made it. Man, we've made it. There's these little plaques of all the winners there. So the guys that finish 4th, 5th, 6th are kind of going next year. And it, you know, that must leave some kind of psychic scar in their mind, thinking, yeah, it's all to do yet again.